ready for the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship 2024 and a race weekend to come in Zolder, Belgium. 14 teams from 6 countries, about 120 Goodyear tires for one weekend, and all trucks racing with 100% sustainable fuel, fights for points in total, and the Chrome class will determine all action of this exciting championship. Are you ready for our live stream starting on Saturday at 10 AM, followed by strong races all weekend long? Become a part of the One Truck family and see you soon. And there we are in Zolder, Belgium, and the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship on this very sunny Sunday. And it's time to race again, but it's also time for qualifying. And before we go over and hand over to Chess Draycott, our lovely commentator, I found some special guys who also love truck racing. We already had a quick chat beforehand, but there are many worlds uniting. You have to move your little truck a little bit just for the camera. The battery is empty. Oh, I think they're just in a wake-up mode. But all our racers, including Chef Johan being the only female in the field, they're ready for qualifying. And so is Chess Draycott, our commentator. See you in a sec.
Thank you, Lena. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to day 2 here at Zolder in the 2024 Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. And as Lena rightly said, I'm Chaz Draycott, the English commentator for the series. And if you want to listen in German or Spanish commentary instead, Joachim Eberts and Fonzie Cebrian have you covered there in German and Spanish, respectively. We stream our qualifying sessions here on YouTube. And when we come to our race sessions, we have both YouTube streams and international TV broadcasts as well, all rolled into one, so there's plenty of places to watch the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship here in 2024. This is the circuit where we're doing battle this weekend, though, and as you can see in the background, much better conditions than yesterday. It's Zolder in Belgium. It's a wonderful circuit. I absolutely adore this place. It's really narrow, it's really twisty, there's lots of heavy braking zones, and a number of the drivers really like this place. Certain drivers, namely Sasha Lenz, who we spoke to yesterday, don't really enjoy this circuit as much, but at the end of the day, that's racing. You get circuits that you will enjoy more than others, and certain circuits that are a huge challenge. That first sector especially really puts a lot of strain on the front left tyre as you go round the Steravact Bocht all the way around Canal Bocht to Lucien Bianchi Bocht. It really leans on that front left corner, and the truck has to struggle to get power down towards the Kleiner chicane. But it's going to be a great day's racing once again. We start here with qualifying with our usual format, a 15-minute session where all trucks go out on the circuit. We have 14 of them this weekend. They then get whittled down into 12 trucks who will go back out for qualifying 2, and then we'll get a final session with just the top 6. Let's have a look at the highlights from yesterday, shall we? Some of the finest pictures of our racing action that Saturday gave us. We are sharing the circuit this weekend as well, by the way, with the Dutch Truck Racing Championship. There was a bit of a delay to begin with a red flag, but everybody was looking forward to getting another race weekend underway in the best way possible. Antonio Albacete had qualified on the front row of the grid alongside Norbert Kisch, and the first race certainly gave lots of action in the opening moments. An issue for Heinrich Clemens Hecker and Luke Garrett on separate occasions saw them on the sidelines from the very first lap, and a fuel rail issue kept Sasha Lenz on the sidelines after what was a torrid qualifying and a poor start to his weekend. Norbert Kisch streaked away at the front of the field while Antonio Albacete tried to hold back Jochen Hahn for second place, but Norby took 9 from 9 in this incredible run of domination that he's on at the moment, while Jose Eduardo Rodriguez took the win in the Chrome class ahead of Stefan Faas, and Lucas Hahn on his first race weekend back then started on pole position for the second race of the day. Nerves were high though, as the reverse grid races were always action-packed, And after a great start, Norbert Kish found himself right up inside the top 3. Even after just 2 laps, he was then leading the race. But Lucas Hahn and Stefan Fast did their best at the front of the field in the Chrome class, trying to hold on. Stefan having this little exertion down at the chicane, while Andre Kursin once again was knocked about by just about everybody trying to defend his positions. Luke Garrett's poor run of luck this weekend and this season carried on, unfortunately, with more technical issues with the trucks, but it was a great second race. It was fully entertaining, with lots of battling, lots of contact and slidey moments as well. But that's truck racing. It's so entertaining. Norbert Kish, though, 10 out of 10 for him, winning every race so far this season. Continues a run of form that we have not seen before. We'll have to see whether he can keep that up again today, though, and see whether Lucas Hahn can keep his great form up as well. Lucas took the Chrome class win in the second race yesterday and 3rd place overall, so got an overall podium. It was the first time that he and his father Jochen Hahn had been on the same podium, as they finished 2nd and 3rd after swapping places. And we can go back down to Lena, who's there in the paddock.
Yeah, I was like, I really want you to see this very special corner that I really like a lot, because this is like where the starting line and the finish line is, and where they have like the top speed coming down there, turning left. And yesterday we already saw that the Goodyear tires really have to do a very good job, because it's so much pressure on those tires, specifically in this corner. There is drifting happening, there's so much going on. So once you will be watching the qualifying and the race later on, just keep in mind what I just told you. Once they will hit this corner over there, we have our little fan village, we have all the teams all down there, so you can see it's a very green racetrack. Yeah, we have forest on the other hand, so I will just show you over there. It's a lot of nature, there are people living, and then we have this cute little racetrack right in the middle of everything, and there are a lot of fans down there. Does look like it up here, because they're all down there, all around the racetrack, but everyone is waiting for the races to get started.
Yeah, there's always a great buzz around Zolder, and because it's such a narrow and tight confined circuit, it always feels like you're really close to the action there. So it's great to see there's so many people around here for this round of the championship. You get just where Lena is up there, just on the outside of the entrance to turn 1, and you can see sometimes as well where that pit wall is, where it goes from red to grey. Sometimes the drivers go all the way over to the right hand side of the circuit there. I think there was a shot from potentially last year or even the season before, where I think Norbert Kish got so close to that barrier that the wing mirror, obviously it pokes out more than the cab of the truck, was basically glancing along the top of that pit wall, where it changes from the concrete part to sort of the fence part that you can poke your head through and have a look down the start-finish straight. It was an amazing bit of footage, but again, it just shows the accuracy and the talent level of the drivers in this championship. All the personnel make their way into the pit lane. You can just see them emerging from the left-hand side there. They'll make their way gradually up. The trucks have to sort of go halfway round the circuit and then enter the pit lane to rejoin. So you can see them coming back down from there. A big shout out to our championship sponsors and partners, Goodyear, the title sponsor of the FIA European Truck Racing Championship, and also to Total Energies and Yoast as well, who we have on board for the 24 season. We look forward to hopefully working with them in continuous seasons as well, and obviously finishing the season that we're in already. It's going to be a great campaign once more. Plenty of fans trying to find shade at the moment, at this present moment, because it is so hot down there in Belgium. And yesterday you could see that it was really gloomy conditions, quite cloudy for most of the day. Trucks of all shapes and sizes making their way to the circuit for the day. But there's such a fantastic fan base here in truck racing of many generations. You know, it really is something that people can enjoy no matter what their age. Because, let's face it, everyone loves a truck. Trucks are awesome. But at the same time, it's a racing format that has a very niche corner of the motorsport world and has been appreciated by so many people. But the fact that it's tied so closely to an industry really keeps it intriguing, because a lot of the sort of components, parts, a lot of the technology that you see in truck racing, it's basically like a testing ground for components and parts that could be used in the world of haulage and the obviously the transport industry as well. I mean, look at what Goodyear do. Goodyear have a retreading program for their tyres. So as one of the sustainable methods of the championship, the racing tyres that you see over the course of a weekend on these very trucks could go to the Goodyear factory and get retreaded and then end up being used on a road truck outside in the industry itself. It's amazing. So here we go then. We have Richard Kaimberger, the photographer, on the right-hand side of shot there, ready to get some beautiful pictures as they head out onto the circuit. Norbert Kish, the first one to lead them away then for this first qualifying session. Then it's Jochen Hahn and Antonio Albacete. And then Sascha Lenz. Sascha fourth in the championship after yesterday, 5 points behind Antonio. And he's going to be hoping to recuperate some points because it was not an ideal day yesterday for Sascha. The technical issues keeping them out of the first race of the day. 7th place in qualifying as well. And he did score some decent points in the second race, but with it only being the race 2 and 4 basically have different point systems. So in race 1 you get 20 points for a race victory, then it's 15, 12, 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, 1. Sorry, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then in race 2 you can only get 10 points for a win, and it's 1 point less per position. So each position doesn't count up to as much. So Sascha Lenz, even though he finished inside the top 10 yesterday, only got 5 points, whereas Antonio Albacete over the course of the day got 19 because of that first race giving him 15 more. So you need to be on it in races 1 and 3. And the reverse grid races, I mean, it throws up a chance for anybody to get a victory, really, with how chaotic they can be and how much entertainment they can be for us as well is always a bonus. But as you see, lots of heat haze here as the trucks make their way around the circuit for the first time today. It's great to see the hot conditions here in Belgium. I'm sure Louis Requenco won't be hoping for it to be too hot like it was last year. I'm sure a number of you remember seeing the pictures last season, when I believe he had an oil line failure and there was a huge fire on the back of the truck. It only lasted for mere seconds as the oil just spurted up out of the truck and caught fire in a very dramatic way. But he was perfectly fine. The truck unfortunately was not. Fingers crossed that this truck is alright today. Luke Garrett, trying to show no bias towards the British drivers, but in general Luke has had such bad luck so far this season. The reliability of their truck just hasn't been on their side, and hopefully he and his team can have a better day of it here at Sunday at Belgium. You can see now all the trucks just sort of, it's almost like a parade lap, this part of qualifying, where they take their time to head around the circuit, get a little bit of clear air, make sure that they've got, of course, a bit of space around them to set a time without being impeded by anybody else. This isn't Formula 1. We don't complain about getting impeded when you're 100 metres away from people. But all the trucks creep their way around now into the final hairpin. And you can see some of them actually already making it towards the chicane at the end of the lap, the Jackie Ixbocht. There's Mark Taylor, the number 81 machine. And up at the front, Norbert Kish, already over the line, down towards turn 1 for the first time here today. And the beautiful Reverse Racing number 1 Baloo, as it's known, the MAN, piloted around the first couple of corners now by Norbert Kish. He's got Jochen Hahn chasing him down. Gorgeous weather here at the moment, isn't it? What a fantastic sight with the wind farm over on the left as well. It's a lovely shot from down there. John Newell heading towards us there with Heinrich Clemens Hecker just behind him on the circuit. You can see the fan village there with a great view on the inside of the Lucien Bianchi Bocht. It's almost like an arena, that part of the circuit, where it goes all the way around. It's almost like a complete square. But here is your reigning champion, 5-time champion now, Norbert Kish. He's won the last 3 on the bounce, and he's won the last 10 races on the bounce as well. I think we realised recently, or calculated recently, that on merit, in terms of the pace, when it wasn't decided by a penalty, I think it was Most 2021 was the last time that Norbert Kish was not on pole position somewhere. It's absolutely remarkable. There's Antonio Albacete, 3rd place on the circuit. They go out in championship order for this first part of qualifying, and then when they go through to Q2 and to Q3, they then have their times considered for what order they then go out in. So if you do qualify first in this first part of the session, you'll be the first one back out. Lovely shot there of them coming down into the hairpin. You can see how much beautiful greenery there is around here at Zolder. It is literally like racing through a forest. It's fantastic everywhere you look. There's just trees surrounding the circuit. It's an excellent venue. They head into the chicane. Interesting to see how uphill that chicane is as well. From a lot of angles it looks very flat and very stiff, but it's got quite a lot of camber to it. It's almost a bit of a flowing corner. They now head down towards us once again, and you can tell that the pace is up from yesterday because Norbert Kish is already into the 156s. 156.888 for him. Sasha Lenz goes second fastest ahead of Albacete and Steffi Halm. Jochen Hahn fifth at the moment, just ahead of Stefan Faas. Andre Kurzim slots in there into sixth position. Don't forget, it's the top 12 that go through into qualifying 2. John Newell crosses the line. 2.9 seconds off the top time for John. Louis Requenco next up. He goes just ahead. He's half a second clear. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez coming down the start-finish straight with what seems like a lot of smoke coming out the back of the truck. Not sure if that was just steam from the brakes, though, whether there was a lot of it, but no, there's definitely something wrong there. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez definitely having some sort of issue there. Stefan Faas, or is that Heinrich Clemens Hecker, has just moved over in the background. Mark Taylor there as well. At the moment, Luke Garrett, he was going through, as he's just been displaced there by Lucas Hahn, who moves up a spot. Lucas goes into 10th position. So it's Requenco and then Newell going through. The two trucks not going through at the moment are Luke Garrett and Heinrich Clemens Hecker. Heinrich Clemens Hecker, unfortunately, not having a good first lap there. He was 20 seconds off, so I think he must have backed out somewhere around the lap. But we look here at Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, and I'm not sure if there's an ongoing problem with that truck. He will usually, after a fast lap, they will sort of peel over and cool the truck down a little bit and then wait to go again. But I wasn't sure if there was something wrong with that number 38 machine for a second there, because as he came out of that final chicane, there was quite a lot of smoke up in the air. It wasn't just the steam from the brakes. You can see a bit of it there, actually. As, oh dearie me, John Newell has had his lap time deleted for hitting a penalty marker partway around the lap. The penalty markers are the large white bollards that you can see all around the circuit, and especially more placed at the chicanes and the corners that could be cut to gain an advantage. There's one of them now. But they're just really tall foam posts, basically. They're hollow in the middle as well. They do no damage whatsoever to our trucks, but yes, that is a problem, to say the least, for Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, the number 38 machine. It's a shame as well, in addition, because our director, Andreas, had said that he was going to show us how close he got to the wall. I mentioned earlier that some of the drivers get very, very close, and apparently Jose Eduardo Rodriguez was really close to the barrier, and we were going to get a shot of that. Apparently Mark Taylor is under investigation for hitting a penalty marker as well. So we'll have to see whether anything comes of that. But John Newell's time has been deleted, so he will have to go again. We saw him just a moment ago head round the final chicane to set a lap. There you can see him on the right-hand side of your screen, while a lot of the other drivers, they're happy with the lap times they've set. They will pop into the pit lane now. You'll often see the drivers that are close to the brink, let's say, staying out there. The likes of Lucas Hahn, Louis Requenco. You've got to be out on circuit to sort of defend your position and put another lap time in, basically. There, going around the Lucien Bianchi box was Heinrich Clemens Hecker. Whoa, sideways on the exit as well. It's a great shot, that. We always get trucks coming around there slightly sideways. There's very little weight over the rear of these things, as you can tell. So the back end slides around a lot when they get on the power. Heinrich Clemens Hecker, unfortunately, having a big issue into that chicane yesterday. He locked up big time, and there was a throttle issue. I think it was a throttle sensor that had gone. So basically the thing was just going in way too hot into the chicane, and he then retired and pulled over just at this chicane, actually. We didn't see him at the Slovakia ring. Unfortunately, work commitments took him away from us for that weekend, but it's great to have him back. No further action on Mark Taylor, by the way, for penalty markers. He did clip one, but it wasn't considered one that would be sort of knocked over completely. Someone that is doing better than yesterday is Sasha Lenz, truck number 3. Yesterday he was 7th in qualifying, and he's down there with Lena for a quick chat.
Yes, doing so much better today. I think I had a good night of sleep and maybe whatever was wrong got fixed.
Yeah, I sleep very good. No, yesterday in the first race we have a big problem with the rail system. So my mechanic guys and MAN repair really fix. So, and the second race was good, you know, all was working. So that's it.
I think you're a person that always needs the challenge. You always need something in front of you that you have to fight for, right?
You know, sometimes for the fans and for me it's nice when you start on the back for the field, but you lose a lot of points, you know, in the first race. So yeah, sometimes it's nice, but on the other side it's really shit for us, yeah.
So good luck for today. I'll let you go on for qualifying number 2 because we have 2 more for come. So for now it's the top 12 restarting and then the top 6 are allowed to go again. And let's see, maybe I will walk over to number 38, see what's going on with that engine. We already saw it when it went out, and Chas, back to you for a sec.
Thanks, Lena. You know when people have those things in the workplace that are like days since last incident? I need to get a counter in my office for days since we last heard Sasha Lenz swear in an interview. But apologies for the language, but I'm sure you'll all find it as entertaining as I do. I absolutely love Sasha. He's brilliant. He's such a great character. I remember he actually had a chat with me about it a while ago when I first went to one of the race meetings and said, "Look, Sasha, when you swear in these in these interviews, I have to apologise for you." And he said, "Oh, I didn't realise. I'm so sorry," because in English broadcasting we do, but you know how it is. It's part of the character of these drivers, and he blamed the English mechanics that he'd been learning from. He'd been learning from John Newell's guys, so it tells you all you need to know, doesn't it? John and the boys certainly getting Sasha in trouble, but it's all part of the fun. All part of the fun. We've had a lap time deleted for Luke Garrett as well for a penalty marker violation, apparently. And there it is at the top of your screen. So unfortunately, Luke will have one of his times deleted. Not sure which of the two it was. We'll go back down to Lena now, as I believe she's finding out what's happened with Jose Eduardo Rodriguez's truck.
Yeah, engine is turned off, so it seems like there has to be more fixing done. We saw when he left it there was already smoke. So what's going on?
It's about the engines, a piston, I don't know how to call in English, the oil turned off.
Okay, you can say it in Portuguese for the fans out there.
Ok, tem a ver com o pistão que deita o óleo fora, pronto, não dá para continuar assim, o óleo sai fora.
So you have to fix it. I think you will go back to the box for now. All right, because you know how an engine runs without oil not really well. So I hope for you to be back because he had such a strong race yesterday, so he has to go back and fight for it. Thank you so much, Chas. Back to you.
Yeah, indeed, piston was the right word. So sometimes if, it could be something like if there was oil in a cylinder, for example, or something was definitely burning away, it was getting rid of more oil than it definitely would have wanted to. As we have Heinrich Clemens Hecker back on our screens. He's not quite made it through yet into the top 12. He needs to gain 1.6 seconds to beat John Newell. You can see on the left-hand side of your screen there the green. Those are the drivers that will be going through. So at the moment, it's Norbert Kish, Sasha Lenz, Antonio Albacetti, Steffi Halm in 4th place. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez in the chrome class. You can see the little letter C next to their race number. Then Jochen Hahn, Mark Taylor up there in 7th, ahead of Andre Kurzim. Stefan Fast next up, Lucas Hahn, Louis Riquenco. And this man, John Newell, in the top 12. Luke Garrett back out there trying to set a faster time. Trying to get himself back into that top 12 to go through to qualifying 2. It will be a shorter 10-minute session for those drivers to get another time on the board. It's a clean slate as well when they go through, so their previous times are disregarded and they have to set a brand new one in that session. Newell through the chicane, Garrett through the chicane as well. The Villeneuve chicane, I mean, it's difficult in most cars and any sort of racing machines, but in the trucks as well, when you need to sort of manage the momentum so much. It's remarkable, the fact that these drivers can keep it under control and keep it so cool, calm and collected. There is Louis Requenco out there as well. Like I said before, he's just going to remain on the circuit, try and sort of defend his time, because if either of these guys set a faster time in the last moments that is quicker than his and knocks him down a peg, then it's obviously good for him to be out there to try and respond. 5 seconds left on the clock here for John Newell to cross the line, and he's just going to do it. And that means that he can go on to a fast lap now. So the checkered flag comes out for the drivers behind. Louis Requenco is one of them. So Louis been able to get a final lap on the board. I don't think it's going to be an improvement. I think maybe a bit of a miscalculation there from Louis. Let's see. Actually, no, not really. It was only 2/10 off his fastest time. So he did a decent job of that one. But unfortunately, Luke Garrett did not get the time to improve on the time that he set earlier on. Heinrich Clemens Hecker is on a lap, I believe. It looks like it at the moment, yeah. Heinrich Clemens Hecker somewhere around the circuit. He's just gone through Sector 2, actually. He'll be coming through the final moments of the lap now. John Newell wanted to improve on his time, but he doesn't necessarily... Well, I suppose, actually, with Hecker out there, he will need to just keep his wits about him. Let's see what Heinrich Clemens Hecker can do in the Scania. You can usually tell the Scanias apart quite easily because they are a little bit more square than the MANs and the Ivecos. The sort of top half of the cab is really squared off. It's not rounded or smoothed in many ways. Heinrich Clemens Hecker comes to the line then, and the lap time is a 2 minutes .978. It's almost an identical lap time to the fastest time he set earlier on, but unfortunately is not enough to improve on his current position. And he will stay in 14th place. Someone that's gone through, though, is Mark Taylor in 7th place. He's had a really good session there, and he's down there with Lena.
Yeah, and the team seems to be very relaxed. He's done a good job, ended up in 3rd place yesterday in the Chrome class, so maybe that gave you the extra power for today to even speed up a little more.
Yeah, we did a lot of good... The guys did a good service to the truck last night, got everything prepared. Me and Michael sat down and did the data, and as you do, you spend your Saturday nights doing data, and all you can do is just go out and push for it, and that's what we have done this morning, and it's paid off.
You're always here with your family, with your team, so you with a very close circle. Do you always like spend a lot of time in the evenings as well, so you can breathe a little bit?
Yeah, we all spend a bit of time together after when the truck's all done. We all sit back and have a beer and a good laugh at night.
And I just have to tell you, because we're an online stream, you're the team that has the most different beer cans in one fridge. I've not tasted one of them, but I've seen it. So your team always has a lot of beverages to drink, not only alcoholic ones, but also non-alcoholic. But I really like that, so good luck to you for the next round, and everything seems to be in order over here. So let's see how the next qualifying will go for Mark Taylor.
Thanks, Lena. Yeah, Mark and the team always have a good time on these race weekends. They work very hard on working on the truck itself and making sure that the setup is as dialed in as can be. As you now have all of the trucks lined up in the pit lane as they complete the first part of qualifying. So that's Q1 out of the way. So the top 12 will now go through. So Garrett and Hecker are the two that we lose from the grid this time round. Heinrich Clemens Hecker will start 14th. Luke Garrett will start in 13th place for this one. And then the remaining 12 will all go through into another session, a 10-minute session, where their times, like I said before, will be completely wiped off, a new clean slate, and they all have to set brand new lap times for this next session. So even if, just as an example, even with Norbert Kish qualifying on pole position for that first qualifying session, if he went out there now and only made it to 8th fastest, he would not go through into Q3. It basically doesn't affect the following sessions, really. It's literally whether you get through or not. I've been told 2 minutes until the pit lane goes green, so you'll see some of them make their way towards the end of the pit lane now. Sasha Lenz, one of them. On the right-hand side, he's fired up and ready to go, which is good to see. Antonio Albacete also ready to make his way out. They should go out in the order that they just qualified in, so it should be Norbert Kish, then Sasha Lenz, then Antonio Albacete, and Steffi Halm. Jochen Hahn down there in 6th position. not where we usually see him, but he would have been getting in what they call a banker lap, which is just to make sure that they can rely on it. There's the high-tech chocks holding back Mark Taylor's truck. At the moment, it'll take a lot more than that to hold it back when it's at speed, I tell you. There's the lovely number 24 Scania of Stefan Faas, the Tank Pool 24 machine, and the striking number 11 Iveco of Andrei Kurzim. Mark puts it in reverse for a sec, and we'll slot in just in front of Kurzim. Kurzim qualified 8th in that first session, so Mark will be the next one to just slot in front. You can see their big white windscreen banner in the background with their branding on. There's the front right wheel of Stefan Faas's truck. The Man Filter branding on the back of that machine really completing the German tricolour. I'm told that the German tricolour is gold, not yellow, by the way. I was corrected at the start of the season, so I do apologise. I said it was black, red and yellow, but it's black, red and gold, I'm told. There's John Newell's machine. Another one that I really like the look of, actually. The white and metallic blue that they've got on that machine looks great in the sunshine as well, when you get an idea of the beautiful fleck and all the shine that comes out in that blue. John having an interesting season so far. He's had a good few point scores. He's done pretty solidly in the Chrome Championship as well, actually. 4 podiums at the Slovakia Ring. No podiums in class so far this weekend. But he hasn't gone a weekend in the championship for a while without a podium, so we'll have to see whether he can score one of his usuals today as they all head back out onto the circuit then for Q2. 9.5 minutes left on the clock. Louis Requenco should be heading out in just a moment. I think John was waiting for him for a sec there. And Norbert Kish is the first one to lead the field out onto the track. Again, still excellent conditions. We have 11 of them out at the moment that have ticked past the end of the pit lane. Just trying to figure out who hasn't gone out just yet. Because Lucas Hahn has headed out there. Requenco and Newell have both gone out. Interesting. Interesting. I think there's a truck missing at the moment, but we'll have to confirm that. You can see them all now having a bit of a slower installation lap to get started. Jochen Hahn there in front of Mark Taylor, Andrei Kurzim, Stefan Faas, and Lucas Hahn. They're all weaving a little bit to get some temperature in the tyres. The circuit will be a lot hotter than it was yesterday. Over the crest of the hill they go. I love that shot as well. You saw in the highlights earlier that the top of the Iveco S-Way was so close to the bottom of that bridge. It's remarkable. We actually had issues with that at Tor Poznan last season, where they couldn't have the Iveco do a full pace lap because it was too tall for the bridge that it had to go underneath near the end of the lap. There's Mark Taylor. We spoke to him just a few moments ago. He's going to be feeling a lot more confident, Chaz, after that first session. Finishing ahead of Andrei Kurzim in that one. And it's, of course, it's Jose Eduardo Rodriguez that isn't there, isn't it? Because he had the engine issue earlier. 2 and 2 together does make 4, but it takes my little brain a long time to sort that out, so I do apologise. But yeah, Jose Eduardo Rodriguez will not be out in Q2, so he will start the race from 12th on the grid. I was going to say potentially start the race from 12th on the grid, but there's no two ways about it. He may have to get permission from the stewards to start from 12th on the grid because of the technical issue that might put him to the back, but technically has still out-qualified the 2 drivers that didn't go through. So we'll see. We'll figure it out one way or another. Either way, the trucks are now on the circuit and back up to full speed as they start their second phase of qualifying. And it's Norbert Kish, Sascha Lenz, Antonio Albacete, Steffi Halm, Jochen Hahn, Mark Taylor, Andrei Kurzim, Stefan Faas, Lucas Hahn, Louis Requenco and John Newell that we have out there on track. 11 trucks here in Q2. And there is Mark trying to make his mark. Round turn 1, he's got 4 podiums to his name this season in class. Having a solid run of it, to say the least. He He's third in the championship in the Chrome class. He's ahead of John Newell. And again, an interesting point that I raised yesterday is, oh, hello, that's an interesting point in itself, Mark. He says, look back at the screen, Chaz. Don't worry about the championship points. Look at this. Kicks the back end out round the Lucien Bianchi box and heads down towards the Kleiner chicane, down through the gears, on the brakes, chucks it in, bounces one way, bounces the other. The suspension working so hard here. Up over the crest of the hill, down towards the long left-hander known as butt. Typically getting to the butt of the hill. And then swooping round into the Villeneuve chicane, onto the brakes. Careful of the penalty markers, you can see the weight transfer. They do cut a lot of that chicane, but at the end of the day, it's just made so that it's a little bit more accommodating to the trucks. They can't expect them to clip the curbs as the GT cars do every single lap. These trucks can absorb a lot more of an impact from underneath. As into the chicane goes Norbert Kish. Sascha Lenz quite close to the back of him as well, which is an interesting point. Normally the drivers leave a bigger gap than that between them, but Sascha stuck right with Norby on that lap. Across the line they go then, and it's another 1:56.8 for Norbert Kish. He grabs that top spot for now. Sascha Lenz next up behind him is, oh dearie me, I was saying about the fans trying to find shade earlier on. Looks like Stefan Faas has wanted to find a bit of shade to cool something down on his truck. But it's Kish, Lenz, Hahn, Albacete and Halm at the moment. Mark Taylor goes 6th fastest. And Andre Kurzim then displaces him. Good chance this for Mark Taylor to try and take pole position in the Chrome class here, as Lucas Hahn just beats him to it, and Requenco goes a little bit quicker as well. Would you look at that? 13 thousandths of a second between Lucas Hahn and Louis Requenco. John Newell up there as well. I mean, it's safe to say, with no disrespect to any of the other Chrome class drivers, Jose Eduardo Rodriguez not being in this session is a great chance for them to take pole position in class, as there is a dejected Stefan Faas walking away from the number 24 machine. He's a good mechanic himself, Stefan, so usually he can look at the truck and know exactly what's wrong with it. But I'm afraid this time, something not quite working out for him and the team. It's a big shame. Something's working out for Norbert Kish, though. He goes fastest for now. We do have just 10 times on the board as a result. It's extra gutting for Stefan Faas, because it means that he's going to be... Oh, what's that on the outside of the circuit there? There was something on the outside. I'm not sure it was one of the bollards, but there was something green on the grass. Almost looked like a pipe or a pole or something. Not sure if that was a potential part that had fallen off Stefan Faas's truck. That part itself may have been green, but so too is the renewable HVO diesel, 100% renewable HVO diesel that our trucks run on. It's all very green, clean racing. It's a phrase that I've not been able to say properly for about 3 seasons, and eventually I've finally got there. I'll get it wrong next time I try and say it, just you watch. But Norbert Kish sets a blistering time yet again. 3 drivers within a second, though, with Sascha Lenz, Jochen Hahn and Antonio Albacete not far off at all. Sascha will be pleased with that, and he'll bring the truck into the pit lane. I think that may be, if he stays there, that'll be his best qualifying of the season, his first front row start. Jochen Hahn has had 4 of them so far, with Antonio Albacete grabbing the latest one at Zolder just yesterday. But Norbert Kish has had every pole position so far this season, in yet another outstanding run of form. But a lot of them will now peel into the pit lane. Andre Kurzim in there as well. Steffi Halm, I think that was, maybe going for another lap, or is it Lucas Hahn? I think Lucas Hahn might have been going for another one there. They've got very similar designs on the truck, and I couldn't tell whether it was the orange looking dark or the red looking light. Sascha Lenz completes his session. It was Lucas Hahn, because there is Steffi Halm in the pits. And let's not forget, they still have chance to go through to another session here. This will not completely set the final grid. You need to be into the top 6 to go through into qualifying 3. It's all Titan drivers ready to go through at the moment, with 4 Chrome class drivers trying to take one of the spots away from them. Lucas Hahn, Louis Requenco, Mark Taylor and John Newell the 4 drivers that remain out on track. But a job well done for Norbert Kish at the minute. They'll be confident with their lap times and not feel the need to go back out onto the circuit for another run. And the pit lane fills for now. Doors open, get a bit of cool air inside the truck if possible, because it's a lot hotter than it was yesterday down there in the pit lane. There was a massive amount of like black and grey clouds yesterday, really keeping the circuit cool. Obviously not just different conditions for the drivers themselves, but the tyres as well. Have to consider the longevity of the tyres over the course of a race run. And these tyres by Goodyear, remarkably durable. They've hardened the compound from last season, and it's a much better tyre in the wet as well. Really dissipates the water really nicely. Goodyear are very proud of the tyres that they bring to the series, and the drivers have had a lot of input into making them as good as they are. There's Chaba Barco, just walking around the front of the number 1 machine for Revace Racing. And there's Jose Eduardo Rodriguez as well, heading back over to the pit wall as, Louis Requenco has decided to go and join his friend Stefan Fass at the side of the road. It's becoming a bit of a grassy car park down there on the exit of the second chicane. And as the checkered flag comes out, it's, well, certainly an interesting scenario down there. Lena, any more news on that?
Yes, and one who has not managed to keep driving in the qualifying is Clemens Hecker, who had a quick break in Slovakia ring. Now he's back here in Zolder, Belgium. And this is chill, and you are like managing the team. So I was like, I really have to speak to a woman once there is one in the world of truck racing. So I really adore that you're like working along with Clemens. Yeah. What's going on in scrutineering right now?
They are looking at the truck right now. We just had qualifying, and we will see.
Is there something wrong with it, or is this just normal procedure?
No, it's just a procedure. Nothing is wrong with it. They just have to check if everything is okay. Every car has.
Tell me about you very, very quickly, because you're with your dad. So you came into the world of truck racing. How much do you love it?
I really love it. Every time I have free, I will be on the circuit. Yeah, I really love it. It's such a nice sport, and
okay, so we need more women in the world of mechanics and team chefs. So good luck to you. Everything seems to be right in scrutineering. So back to qualifying number 3.
Thank you, Lena. Yeah, it's just part of the checkups that the trucks have, basically, to make sure that everything fits within regulations. All the parts are operating as normal. This is what happened with Louis Requenco. John Newell going past him on the right-hand side. And you can see that there is the usual steam coming off the brakes, but yeah, there's a lot more vapour than is normal from these trucks. And Louis there heading over to the right-hand side of the circuit. Yeah, there's vapour coming from much further back in the engine bay than you'd normally want it. Not that you do want vapour coming out of your engine bay, to be honest. But yeah, that becomes a bit of a car park. There's that little thing at the bottom left of the screen there. I cannot figure out what that is. There is a penalty marker that will not be seeing the rest of the weekend, that's for sure. And here comes the cavalry, everybody. Around the chicane comes the massive Volvo recovery truck. This is the thing in the industry and in truck racing, you know. The vehicles themselves may be bigger. The vehicles that recover them are even bigger. And we get some really monstrous bits of kit. There is Stefan Faas heading back to the number 24 machine. Again, another idea of the scale of these trucks. He's having a quick look over just to see what was wrong. Another benefit of truck racing is that the engines are so huge and so easy to see. You can sort of climb between the bodywork and the machine's engine. So you can be in the truck and be around the engine. It's all very easily accessible. You can see the green fifth wheels resplendent in the sun, much like the double-waved yellows, which are manned down there. There is Lucas Hahn. He just completed his session just outside of the top 6. So the drivers that go through will be the Titan drivers: Norbert Kish, Sascha Lenz, Jochen Hahn, Antonio Albacete, Steffi Halm, and Andre Kurzim. And now a little bit of a clean-up operation begins. That's just getting rid of a little bit of gravel. Now we can see what... Yeah, I don't know what that is either. Not sure what on earth that is or what it's come from or off. Doesn't look like a bollard or anything. That guy looks like he's just nicked somebody's turbocharger. Oh, it's an air filter. That's an air filter, that is. I can tell you that's the front cone of an air filter from potentially a boost pipe or something, but that shows you the size of the air filters on these trucks. Interesting. Maybe that could have had something to do with one of them breaking down if there was an overheating issue. But that definitely looked like the cone off the end of an air filter for me. But obviously it's come off and been run over or hit something and been dented out of shape. And now we have a little bit of a pause while the trucks are recovered. And we're going to go back down into the pit lane and we're going to speak to Antonio Albacete, who finished 4th in that session.
Out of his concentration mode, but they're cleaning up the track right now, so we have a second to speak. Yesterday you were very strong. Today the others also are more strong than yesterday.
Yeah, looks like that the other ones are stronger than yesterday. So it's going to be difficult to be in the top 3, but yeah, I will try. I will try to make my best and to be in the top 3.
Do you also take care a little more of the tires with the heat of the weather?
Yeah, you have to take care because today is a little bit hotter than yesterday and the tires were overheating, so we have to be a little bit careful, but now we have to push as much as we can.
Yeah, 5 minutes to push, so I let you go. They're still cleaning up the track. Let's see if we quickly maybe can speak to Steffi or someone else until they're ready to go again. Okay, Chess, back to you.
Thank you, Lena. Always good to hear from Antonio Albacete. Such a cool, calm and collected character. And Stefan Faast's machine being towed away there around the circuit. A good job done by the recovery team here at Circuit Zolder. Hats off to them. Getting everything sorted as quickly as they can. And now Liria Cuenco's machine, I believe. Is he going to drive it away? Not quite sure. We'll have to see. We'll go back down in the pit lane and we'll try and catch up in a moment. We've got Steffi Halm with Lena.
And there she is, Steffi Halm, and the whole season already, Andre Kursim and her, they always had the strongest fights. Yesterday they were super close to each other, and now it's again the two of you behind each other. You're in the front, which I already say congratulations. So what's going on in between the two of you?
I know, at the moment I think Andre and me, we are more or less on the same level, and it depends on the setup and the racetrack, maybe who feels a little bit comfortable with. But it was also in the last season we were more or less the same, so it depends on who gets the better day, and I hope after the Q3 I will be in front of him.
So are you more the hunter? Do you always prefer to be in the back and then fight for it, or are you more happy to be in the front and defend?
You know, the best is to be in the front and don't have to defend and be fast enough to make a gap. No, but the most important thing in the track racing is the qualifying, to have a good start position, because it's very difficult to overtake, especially here. It's very tight, it's very narrow in the back of the track. If you make a mistake, you're off track, and the barriers are very close, so the best is to be in front.
You had a big bump with your truck yesterday, overtaking. Is your truck totally fine again today?
Yeah, it was okay. I don't know. I had a problem with the left rim. Was the contact in the second corner after the start, and I'm not sure if I lose a little bit of the pressure. It feels like that, but this was the only problem I had yesterday. So they checked the whole truck and everything was fine.
All right, so ready to go for qualifying number 3. You go and push it, girl. I know she will do a good job. Just back to you.
Cheers, Lena. Yeah, great to hear from Steffi as always, and it's good to know as well that her and Andre both sort of recognise that they're on a similar level, and there's only a tiny advantage or disadvantage for each weekend based on where they are and what the setup is like. So it's always good to hear that the drivers sort of reflect the feel of what's going on. as there's a bit of, a lot of sudden movement around Louis Rikwenko's truck here to stop it moving. Not quite sure what's gone on there, whether there's anything going on in terms of fluid coming out or anything underneath that suddenly happened. I think they're just trying to figure out lifting the thing from the front, so obviously they've put the chocks underneath it to make sure that it doesn't roll backwards or move while it's being lifted. They don't have handbrakes, these trucks, so they just sit on their own weight and don't move anywhere. As there you go, wow, look at that. 5 tons? What 5 tons? As they lift it up and get ready to now take it away. I've been told as well by Steve Miller that Jose Eduardo Rodriguez's engine will need entirely changing, so we'll have to wait and see what happens later on. We're going to get the other side of the story now from Andre Kurzim, who's with Lena.
Yeah, every story has 2 sides, so this is the other one. Andre, I just talked to Steffi, and the two of you always have the tightest fights because you're like at the same pace somehow, and then it's always the one or the other one more in the front. So how is it going for today?
Yeah, I think we have nearly the same level the whole season. And yeah, yesterday was a good day for us. Today Steffi is a little bit faster. Maybe we can change the position now, and yes, hopefully we can go in front.
I already asked Steffi if she's more defensive or more the hunter. Which person are you more?
Yeah, nice question. Now I'm the hunter.
Okay, and it looks like you like to be the hunter, so I'm already can see that he's like focusing on the qualifying, so I don't want to take you too much out of it, because also you want to like stick in the shape of qualifying number 3, which is only 5 minutes. So qualifying 3 is only 1 lap, right? Or do you have 2 laps?
Yeah, we have only 1 lap, and hopefully it works.
Right, so 1 lap to go for Andre Kurzim, Steffi Halm, Norbert Kisch, Jochen Hahn, Sascha Lenz, and did I forget about anyone? I don't think so. Jess, back to you.
Thank you very much, Lena. Yeah, great to hear from Andre Kurzim. He's such a good character. He and the team at Don't Touch Racing are a really, really tight-knit squad, and they always have such a beautifully presented truck as well. They take great pride in that machine. There is their logo, upside down, but still their logo. As we now have 6 trucks ready to go. There's Louis Rikwenko's machine being taken away. Unfortunately, something going wrong in the engine bay there. Not as dramatic as we saw from Stefan Fars's machine, but yeah, I'm sure that air filter somewhere belonged to somebody in our field. A massive big green air filter. Might have been a bit of an advert for how tough the man filters are on Stefan Fars's truck. Who knows? But maybe not a good advert if it fell off. Still, it's down to them. We now wait for the session to get underway. Apparently, there it is actually. There is said air filter. Yeah, we can see now more up close. Definitely that's what it is. It's not quite in perfect condition, but if anyone wants to put that on eBay for later on, then let us know. You can have it. Don't forget as well, the next race meeting in the championship, you see in the top right of your screen there, the 13th and 14th of July, the International ADAC Truck Grand Prix at the Nürburgring, which is going to be an absolute riot as always. It's such an incredible event. It's the real sort of crown jewel of the truck championship season here in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. We've got lots to look at, lots of racing to do, as has Lucas Hahn, who is down there in the pit lane with Lena.
First weekend in Zolder, Belgium, and yesterday we spoke about him being in sim racing where he test drove the racetrack, and yesterday he became faster and faster as he showed today. Are you a little disappointed not to be in the top qualifying now?
Yeah, a little bit disappointed, but in the end the 7th position is also good for me. I learn a lot, and yeah, step by step we will go to the top drivers or on the top level of the drivers, but step by step.
You were with your dad on the podium yesterday for the total. Is this something we can look for today maybe as well?
Yeah, hopefully we can look, because we also enjoy it to stay on the podium. That's why we are driving, and hopefully with him together.
All right, so we see you later on in the race this afternoon. They're not sure if you have to go to scrutineering now, so we let you go, and let's hope for the top qualifying to start very soon.
Yep, so we have the session restart confirmed at 11:50 local time. So in literally a minute's time, the green light will come on at the end of the pit lane. There's the Hahn Racing Truck Sport branding, which of course has changed to red for Lucas Hahn and his squad for this season. And apparently now Q3 is green at 11:51. Thanks again to Alice Holloway, who's in race control and giving us all the updates. My WhatsApp is constantly going off throughout these races with many a message and so much information. There's so many great people down there in the paddock that really do help me out and keep me informed from distance. As there is the massive Volvo recovery truck. 2 trucks in one, though, as Louis Riquenco's machine is dragged down the start-finish straight. And I believe they'll get to the end of the pit lane and then they'll turn right and then head up the paddock. Then we'll be able to get things back underway. There you can see the entry to the bottom half of the paddock, actually, where Stefan Fass is being brought in on the right-hand side of shot. And yeah, they'll actually they'll probably follow it around to the same point, just because it's an easier entry than trying to get that massive thing. It's like a skyscraper that's been put on its side and put on wheels, isn't it, that Volvo? It's huge. But they will take it all the way around into the paddock rather than trying to fit it into the pit lane. And then we'll get green flags in the air, and the trucks will be back out on the circuit for Q3. So 6 drivers remain. They are all Titan class drivers: Norbert Kish, Sascha Lenz, Jochen Hahn, Antonio Albacete, Steffi Halm and Andre Kurzim. Anyone for a coffee? Of course, that is the forbidden coffee. Be a bit hot right now as well. That's Steffi Halm's number 44 machine. It's apparently a HVO blend, according to our director, who's just whispered those sweet nothings into my ear. Steffi giving us a wave as she gets ready to head out for Q3. See, it's not just me that comes up with the good puns. It's not just me that comes up with them. I'm fed them bit by bit over a broadcast weekend. I can't take all the credit. But Norbert Kish and Sascha Lenz effectively starting on the front row of the pit lane there by the look of it, as they are ready to peel out onto the track in less than a minute's time. It keeps getting pushed back and back. It's like being at the airport. But it's just to make sure that the recovery vehicles and so on can be safely entered into the paddock without any obstruction to the circuit before we go green flag racing once again. And there we go. Green light comes on and they will peel out of the end of the pit lane. And it's only a 5-minute session, this. We saw yesterday that only half the field got a chance to set a second lap time. Nobody improved on that second lap. But now they know the situation, they know the length of the lap and what they need to do on the out lap to try and get a second one in. This is going to be a tough one for some of these drivers. We may see some of them try and push through the queue as such and get to the front of it. But very often they tend to hold formation and hold position on these opening laps. As they head now down towards the Lucien Bianchi box. Again, you can see all the fans in the fan village on the inside there under the Iveco awning. And look at the heat haze. It really is hot during this session. Certainly makes it different to what we had yesterday. The setup will be completely different on the truck as well. Maybe less aggressive to make the tyres last that little bit more. As said, it's not a question of the tyres' durability itself, it's just how much the drivers use it, whether they can attack the circuit and attack the curbs as much with it being hotter conditions. There's Andre Kurzim, 6th place in this one. You can see that they're all not so much giving each other a hurry up, but they're a lot closer together than we've had before. So they're all ready to get on it for this first only flying lap of the session, really. There are certain tracks that are a little bit shorter where they may be able to get 2 laps in these 5 minutes, but it's a great format, this. It's been a really strong introduction to it to change the dynamic of a qualifying session. We hope you've enjoyed it as well, everybody. I mean, I say that like it's over. It's not over yet. We're not even at the halfway point of the season here. After race 2 at the Nürburgring will be the halfway point of the championship. Only 3 or 4 weeks away now, the Nürburgring. I'm just checking my calendar, actually, because it certainly creeps up on us. Yeah, it's only 3 weeks away that we head to the Nürburgring for the Truck Grand Prix. Another weekend that'll be very busy. We're sharing the circuit with a number of championships as well. Really looking forward to that. Hoping to be on site for that one and have a lot of laughs and beer. But Norbert Kiss crosses the line then, and will start his flying lap here in Q3 here at Zolder. Sascha Lenz second place, Jochen Hahn in third, then Antonio Albacete, then Steffi Halm, then Andre Kurzim. 3 MANs, 3 Ivecos in this session. Neither of the 2 Scanias that we have in our field making it through, unfortunately. Stefan Faas having his reliability issue in Q2, and then Heinrich Clemens Hecker not quite having the pace to make it through into that Q2 session. But once again, Sascha sort of remaining in the wheel tracks of Norbert Kiss. He's not exactly close. There's a few truck lengths between them, but it's closer than we see a number of drivers tend to follow one another. You can see the shark fin, the Total Energies shark fin on the 5th wheel of the number 3 machine. I'm sure Sascha was happy when they introduced the neon green 5th wheels as well, because Sascha's usual branding colour is the neon green. He's just adorned the truck with the purple of the Apollo Tyres branding. You'll see the roll cage actually in the sort of inner structure. Even the chassis rails of Sascha's truck are completely day-glow green. There is Steffi and Andre really throwing it through the chicanes. Isn't it great to see the body roll and the momentum of these trucks shifting so quickly one way then the other? They really do handle incredibly as well. You don't get too much of an idea from the outside how they manoeuvre or how flat they manoeuvre. Obviously the cab and a lot of the chassis sort of leans into corners, but having gone out with Antonio Albacete around the Nürburgring last year, I can tell you that it's a very smooth ride up there. It's amazing, absolutely amazing, but the change of direction is just like a GT car. It throws you around inside the cab, but the height of it just loses some of the violence of it. It's so intriguing. Such a strange feeling. A 156.3 for Norbert Kiss is a really blistering time. He was doing 156.8s earlier on in the weekend, and he goes fastest for now with Sascha Lenz second, Jochen Hahn just behind him. Antonio Albacete goes 4th, then Steffi Halm, and then is it Andre Kurzim 6th? Yes, it is. So they remain in the order that they've circulated in terms of their lap times. So they've matched what they did in Q2 relative to one another. I'm not sure if the entire field got across the line before the checkered flag came out. And it looks to me like Norbert Kiss and Sascha Lenz have both gone back onto other laps, but I don't think Jochen Hahn has gone on a fast one. We would have seen him come through the 3rd corner by now. And let's see. Over the crest of the hill once more. The top 2 are definitely still going for it. I'm not sure if anybody else... No, it looks like the rest of the field have all backed out of it. So, yeah, they have decided that that was the one lap they're going to get. Norbert Kiss has backed out of his. Sascha Lenz wants to try and get even closer and potentially take pole away from Norby. But usually the trucks aren't as good a second lap round. That's why we see them sort of wind back a little bit sometimes and cool everything down, get the tyres back into a better operating temperature to try it once more. You can see Sascha heading out of the hairpin now. I'm not sure if he backed out of that there. It looked a little bit tame through the left-right on the exit of the hairpin. He may have been told that Jochen hasn't gone for another fast lap. It looks to me like Sascha wasn't going all the way over to the right-hand side. Yeah, he wasn't following the racing line there. I can tell you that that is, I'm pretty sure... Well, I don't know now, because he's gone on to complete the lap at least, now that the session is over. But I'm pretty sure that Sascha Lenz backed out of that lap there. And he will continue on. Yeah, he stays over to the left-hand side, but that's not full race pace, I can tell you that for free. I was reminded yesterday as well, by the way, I'm going to be openly honest on air here for a second, but I was reminded yesterday that I say the phrase, I can tell you that for free, a lot more than I thought I did. There's a few wonderful people out there, and they know who they are, that play Chaz Bingo, apparently, with my commentary phrases. I was sent a picture of a sheet recently of some of my phrases on a bingo card, but then sent a link as well to a digital version of it as well. And apparently the phrase, I can tell you that for free, appears on there. I'd never realised that I said it as much. There's Connie Tolkun. one of the scrutineers here at the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. She's working away. Her and Franz Stylberg usually working hand in hand so closely over the weekend and really, really getting down to the nitty-gritty work that needs doing in scrutineering. And they love their jobs as well. They really do love their jobs. It's so cool to see people that really enjoy their work as much as them. Interestingly enough, a guy that's going to really enjoy his work from today is going to be Sascha Lenz. He takes his best qualifying position of the season so far. Second place for Sascha on the front row. It's another pole position for Norbert Kisch. Fourth place for Antonio Albacete. Fifth place, Steffi Halm. And sixth place, Andre Kurzim. And there was barely anything between Sascha Lenz and Jochen Hahn there. I think that's why Sascha stayed on to do another fast lap, because there was only 0.010 of a second, or, well, it's 1/100th of a second between Lenz and Hahn. But Norby takes pole again for Revace Racing by nearly 0.9 of a second. Incredible stuff by Norby. He's been quick already all weekend with 1:56.8 in the qualifying sessions before now. And then a 1:56.3. Clearly the hotter conditions providing a little bit more grip than we saw yesterday. Lovely shot there of the reflections down the pit lane buildings as the final sort of personnel cars make their way down towards the end of the pit lanes, follow on the trucks as they head around into the paddock. We saw the paddock entrance earlier on. It's sort of on the exit of turn 2. There is Steffi Halm's Iveco, Jochen Hahn's machine, the white and blue number 2, and then the very interesting front end of Andre Kurzim's Don't Touch Racing Iveco. They've put a huge amount of work into developing that front end to try and give it as much aerodynamic efficiency as possible with what they can work with. There was a slight change to the regulations between seasons as well that meant that certain elements of the cab couldn't be cut away and used as a sort of aerodynamic aid, or couldn't be used to sort of tunnel air to other places of the truck. That's brave, Mr. Mondeo. That was a lovely manoeuvre. Just don't hit our Iveco, please. As the Iveco is now driven away. I believe it's Frank at the wheel, as it always is. Frank the Tank. One of the loveliest people you will meet, Frank. A gentle giant. Great, great bloke. And a very good driver as well. He certainly puts that Iveco through its paces. He's scared the life out of me at a few different circuits around Europe. As Norbert Kisch heads down the end of the pit lane, Antonio Albacete goes to the right. Maybe for scrutineering. Not sure whether there's certain trucks that get picked. We spoke to Connie, actually, from Scrutineering at I think it was at Misano at the start of the season, and she was explaining that, no, I think it was Slovakia Ring, actually. She was explaining that there's no sort of method to who gets picked. They just make sure that everybody gets picked at least once over a weekend, and sometimes if there is a truck that stands out in terms of performance and they think, that doesn't quite look right, then they'll obviously try and pick up on something at the end of a session and just have a look over everything to be sure, because at the end of the day they're doing their jobs to make sure everything is all fair in the racing. Bit more of a clean-up operation as gravel is brushed away from the circuit. Big thanks once again to all the marshals and officials that are around the circuit here at Zolder that keep these race weekends running as smoothly as they can. Looks like a pretty frantic array of touring cars and GT cars has just emerged like bees from a beehive in the pit lane. It's very often that they have to close the garage doors, actually, when truck racing is around, just for safety. There's the results of qualifying then. Norbert Kisch will take pole position with Sascha Lenz on the front row with him. Following them is Jochen Hahn and Antonio Albacete. Fifth place going the way of Steffi Halm with Andre Kurzim 6th. 7th will be Lucas Hahn. Following them, Mark Taylor in 8th position. And then 9th going to Louis Requenco with the time that he eventually set ahead of John Newell in 10th. Then it's Jose Eduardo Rodriguez who will start from 12th position with Luke Garrett and Heinrich Clemens Hecker taking up the final spots on the grid. I believe Stefan Faas will be the truck to start in 11th. And we will be back very soon, everybody, because at 2:25 CEST, we will get the first race of the weekend underway. But I'm going to say goodbye for now and hand back to Lena, and I'll see you for race 1 of Sunday later on this afternoon.
It's the quiet after the storm, and we are ready for race number 1 of this Saturday, 2:30. We will be back for you. There are so many more races happening for now. We also have the Dutch Truck Championship over here, so there are so many fans who are waiting for the European Championship to restart. I hope you will as well. Have a cool beverage and see you in a bit. Bye bye.